I'm thinking about making a quick video of how to cut your hair pretty short and still have some decent style. This is a ragamuffin. Tools, got a little wall, it's one of my old ones. I use that to help with the blending. Simple Remington multi-clip clipper with no adjustable guard or size. As the wall has your half and your full open closed. And a couple hair clips if you ever are getting into the long hair and starting to do some scissor work, but that's not going to be this cut. And then you gotta have an Andy T trimmer, and this helps with all the shape ups, close ups, and getting down as close to the skin as possible. But just talking through a few things to get started. What I'm going to do is start with a 6, which if you have a typical trimmer setup, usually you have 8 clips, so 8 out of 8 is a 1, which is 1 inch, so a 6 would be 6/8 or 3/4 of an inch. And so that way, you know, this would be the size that I'm going to have as the longest part of my hair. So right now this hair is well over an inch at this point. And what I'm basically going to get to is do more of a taper. So I have a 6 kind of down the middle and ending to about a point here. And then I'll go 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then none. And I'll fade right up to that using those guards. So it'll be more of a kind of a tapered look where you get that kind of a ending. But holding the clipper and all that is all fine tuning. So if you go straight in, obviously it's going to cut nice and straight. When I start tapering it with the 5, the 4, the 3, you're going to notice that I'll rock the clipper to the side. So instead of having it flat, I'll angle, angle, and angle. That way I'm blending on these sides and around the edge. Little trick, but rather than using scissors, this is just an easy one to try and get anyone who's a novice or anyone who's unsure whether they can actually do a quick fade or a simple fade. You can do it. Here we go. So one of the first things I like to do is develop the line and the taper to get to the back. So that way you can go all the way around and bring it down as far as you want as it goes around your ear and comes to the back of your head. Using a mirror helps. If you don't have the option of 2 mirrors, it's going to be extremely difficult. Next step, I'll take the 6 and just take everything off the top so I have one smooth layer, and then we'll start with the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then we'll start blending this line out. All right, so 6 on top, 3/4 of an inch. You can see a drastic difference between what I had on my head compared to what I have now. So from here, it's just going to be 5 coming this way, a 4 going that way, a 3, and then the 2, 1. So I'll be shorter in the back. It'll kind of taper up and stay longer to a 6 in the front. That way when you're waxing, gelling, whatever the case is, you get a little style instead of just one long length, and it's all the same. All right, so you got the 6, 5, 4, 3. You can kind of start to see where the length is staying more to the center, and it's getting shorter as you round out to this side. So now I'm going to go 2 and a 1, and that'll start to show the fade just a little bit more. All right, so now you got the 2 and a 1. So you can start to see the blending begin, and the rest is starting to close up that line, so that way it's just a nice sharp fade all the way up. And then really the cut takes its place when you shower and wax the rest. All right, so what I'm about to do here is use the number 1 clip, which is about 1/8 of an inch, just to kind of help taper that line between the 2 and the bald spot. And I'm going to use a stroke known as a C stroke. And in a moment, you're going to notice on a slow motion view where basically you bring the sharper end of the blade below the line into the head and you flick out as if you're creating a C right around the line area. So that way you're not going straight up and pressing the shortest end of the blade in, because that will cut right up to a line rather than fade. So that C motion helps to flick hair away as you come up and past your blend line, usually about a ½ inch. And probably the trickiest part of anyone's single man haircut is when you have to do the back of your head. So that's where in the beginning I mentioned having 2 mirrors is especially helpful. The other thing that will be helpful is understanding you're working backwards, essentially. And so utilizing both hands is going to be probably the most trickiest part to learn. But if you just remember the C stroke and go up and past the line and just take your time, I think everything will work itself out. And so now we're going to start the blend work right on the line as we go around. So I'll give you a shot after I'm done with one side. Taking one side, and all I did was fade that with my wall opened all the way in position, and then just work gradually and close it just to get closer to skin. So very similar to what you saw when I was using the number 1 clip. Here I'm going to use my wall clippers with the blade wide open, so the lever is pulled all the way down so that the clippers are cutting at their maximum length. And all you need to take in consideration here is if you do have a levered clipper, that I'm just constantly moving that lever from being wide open to closed as I go over the line more and more. That way your blend and your fade become more gradual as you do it. So that's what you're seeing there in the fast paced. I'm adjusting the lever as I go over the line just so that that blend becomes a lot more gradual. I'd also recommend, if you don't have one, finding whether it be a comb or something of the nature of a brush as you're beginning to fade a lot more. That way you can get rid of clipped hairs out of the way, because it can tend to make it look like you have more hair on your head than you actually have already cut. All right, got the other side. So sides are good. Now it's working its way to the back, and using the 2 mirrors to do so. Couple tips here when you're working in the back of your head, fading up and down with the shorter blade on the wall clipper. You'll notice I'm rocking my head a little bit left to right, kind of down and forward. Use your head to get yourself a better angle. Of course, working in the back, you always have to worry about the angle of your hand or your wrist. And so use your head, tip it down a little bit, bring it up, bring it backward. Anything to make the angle of attack with the clipper a lot easier for the blend. All right, so now you got full fade back to front. Worked all the way around. All that's left, clean up everything. If you see any difference in your fade, I'll take my short Andy's blade and we'll go run up so I get as close to bald as possible. And then for more advanced, you can start to use a straight edge and clean everything up. This was fun. See how it finishes. All right, cleaned up the bottom. Got about as bald as you're gonna get it with just razors, and the rest is all straight edge and patience. And that's a fade from 6 in the center to 5 to 4 to 3 to 2 to 1, and then knock everything out. Took about 25 minutes, all in all. Obviously the fast forward made it quicker, but a lot of cleanup to do. Throw some wax in, shape it to wherever you want it. And just clean up my edges. And you've got yourself completed fade. 6 on top, round it out, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, which is why it tapers. Down and around the fade. Now you go surprise your wife and say, quarantine or not. Woohoo!
Hot tub tonight. My back is hurting. You cut your hair. You look like you shaved your face. You look like college life. Holy shit. Where are the girls?
Upstairs.